Hello students, I am your science teacher Preeti ma'am and I am going to teach you chapter number 2, Nutrition in Animals. The topics that I am going to cover in this chapter is only the nutrition in the human beings, and I am going to cover all the 5 stages. Nutrition in human beings. Students, you have already learned that we need the right nutrients in the right amounts to be healthy and to grow. Most of the food we eat is in an insoluble form and cannot be absorbed directly by the body. It needs to be broken down into simple soluble form, and this process takes place in the digestive system. Human beings have a complex digestive system, and our digestive system is a long tube that begins at the mouth and ends in the anus. This long muscular tube is called as the alimentary canal or the gut. The mouth, food pipe or other name is the esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum and anus. These organs make up the digestive system. Apart from these organs, glands like the salivary glands, the liver and the pancreas play an important role in the process of digestion. Ingestion. The mouth. The mouth is the opening of the alimentary canal. Food is taken in or ingested through the mouth. Once it enters the mouth, the food is in a cavity called the buccal cavity. So other name of the mouth cavity is the buccal cavity. The teeth help to physically break and mash the food into smaller pieces by chewing it so that it can be swallowed. They are fixed firmly in the sockets in the jaws. The first set of teeth push out of the gums when a baby is about 6 to 7 months old, and these teeth are called as the milk teeth, and they are only 10 in each jaw. When a child is about 6 years old, the milk teeth starts falling out because the permanent teeth which are below the teeth push them out. Permanent teeth are much bigger, and there are 16 permanent teeth in each jaw. If we stand in front of a mirror with our mouth wide open, we will observe the different kinds of teeth which are present in our mouth. We will observe that there are incisors which are 4 in number, and these incisors, they help in biting or slicing the food. We will also observe that canine is there which are only 2, and they help in tearing the food. Premolars 4 in number and they help in grinding, and molars are 6 in numbers and they further grind the food and reduce it to the pulp. Our teeth are covered with a protective coat which is made up of a substance, and it is called as enamel. Although it is the hardest substance in the human body, it can be eaten away by bacteria which is present in the mouth. These bacteria feed on the leftover food which is present in the mouth, and they release different acids that cause small holes in the enamel, and this is called as the tooth decay. And when these holes become bigger, they are called as the cavities. Sticky, sugary foods like the chocolates, candies and carbohydrated drinks, they increase the risk of the tooth decay. So it is necessary for us that we should brush our teeth twice daily. We will also notice that there will be discoloration in the tooth, and if you leave it in the fizzy drink for a few more days, then the enamel will become soft and it will break easily. And this is why we must brush our teeth twice a day and avoid eating foods that contain much sugar. Tongue. It is also a part of the mouth. The tongue is a muscular flap which is present in the floor of the mouth cavity. It mixes food with the saliva and push it so that we can swallow it. If we carefully observe our tongue, we will see tiny bumps on the surface, and these are called as the taste buds, and they help us to detect the sweet, the sour, the tasty, salty and bitter tastes. And tongue, they also help us to speak. Digestion in the mouth. Digestion of food begins in the mouth. There are 3 pairs of large salivary glands which are present at the back of the throat and under the tongue, and many small ones, they also make saliva. Saliva helps to moisten the food, digests carbohydrates. They moisten the food and make it easy to swallow. And it also digests carbohydrates in the mouth. If we chew the bread slowly for a minute, then a sweet taste starts coming out. And this is because the saliva in the mouth breaks down the starch in the bread into the sugar. When the food reaches the back of the tongue, a thin flap, it encloses the windpipe. The food enters the food pipe or the esophagus, and this process of swallowing the food, it is called as swallowing. It takes less than 10 seconds for the food to travel from the mouth to the stomach through the esophagus. And students, no digestion takes place in the esophagus. The muscular walls of the esophagus, they contract and relax in waves, and this helps to push the food down and into the stomach. So these rhythmic movements of the esophagus are called peristaltic movements, and the process by which the food moves down is called as peristalsis. You know, students, that sometimes when we talk while swallowing, or if we eat or drink too fast, then the flap covering the windpipe does not close completely and the food enters the windpipe instead of the food pipe. And this makes you choke or you cough very violently or hiccup. Digestion in the digestion in the stomach we are going to study first, and then I'll cover up the digestion in the small intestine. The food is churned and mixed by the strong muscles of the stomach, which is a large muscular bag. Your stomach is a large muscular bag. The inner wall of the stomach has glands that secrete the mucus. It also secretes the hydrochloric acid and a substance that can digest the proteins. The acid kills the germs and it starts breaking down the food. The protein digesting substance, it begins to digest the proteins, and the mucus protects the stomach from being digested. Digestion in the small intestine now. The partly digested food, which is now in the semi-liquid form, it is called as the chyme. It is called as chyme. It is pronounced chyme. The chyme is sent into the small intestine, the liver and the pancreas. They secrete their digestive juices into the small intestine. The liver is the largest gland of the body and it secretes the bile, which helps in the breakdown of the fats. Bile is stored in a small pear-shaped organ which is called as the gallbladder before it is released to the small intestine. The pancreas, which is situated below the stomach, secretes the pancreatic juice. The pancreatic juice contains substances that further break down the carbohydrates, the proteins and the fats into simpler forms, into simpler substances. The food that moves to the lower part of the small intestine, it is the next stage. The wall of the small intestine secretes digestive juices that complete the digestion of the food. Then the students, the products of the digestion are, after the complete digestion, the products that are obtained are complex carbohydrates are converted into simple sugars like the glucose. Protein is converted into amino acids and fats are converted into fatty acids and the glycerol. Now comes the process of absorption. The wall of the small intestine has very tiny finger-like projections which is called as the villi. This increases the surface area of the absorption of the digested food. These villi are richly supplied with the blood vessels. They absorb nutrients and transport them to different parts of the body through the blood. Water is absorbed in the large intestine. Assimilation. Do you know, students, how is the food we eat used by the body? After the nutrients are absorbed, they are carried to each cell in the body by the bloodstream. Each nutrient is used in a different way. This process by which the absorbed food is utilized by the body, it is called as assimilation. The oxygen we inhale helps to break down glucose into sugar and carbon dioxide also. This releases energy. Therefore, the circulatory system, respiratory system, digestive systems work together to help us get energy from the food. The absorbed amino acids are converted into proteins and help in the repair of the old and worn out tissues, and they are also needed for the growth also. The fatty acids and glycerol are remade into fats, which is either used or stored and act as the energy reserves. Next process is the ejection process. The part of the food that is not digested or absorbed enters into the large intestine, which absorbs some water and the salts. Excess water absorbed by the blood vessels is taken to the kidneys to be removed with the urine. The remaining undigested and unabsorbed food material is stored in the rectum until it is thrown out of the body through the anus, and it is in the form of the fecus. And this process is called as defecation. Millions of bacteria live inside the large intestine. In fact, a part of fecus is made up of not waste but bacteria. That is why you should wash your hands after using your toilets. Now let's watch the beautiful video of the human digestive system. This is our digestive system, and the oral cavity from where the food enters, the tongue and the teeth, they both help in the digestion of the carbohydrates. And then it enters the esophagus, and this is the esophagus. It takes only 7 to 10 seconds for the food to enter the stomach. This is the stomach, which is over here. The food enters, it contains 3 different types of enzymes which help in digestion of the proteins. And after the digestion of the proteins, the food enters into the small intestine. The absorption takes place over here. The livers and the pancreas, they help in the digestion, further digestion of the food. And after that, the food is actually digested over here, and absorption actually takes place in the small intestine. I told you, students, that the small intestine, they contain small finger-like projections which is called as villi, and which contains blood vessels which supply the nutrients, absorb nutrients and transport it to the different parts of the body. And after that, it will pass through the large intestine and it will come out of the body from the anus. Now, these are some of the questions related to the digestion of the human beings. Which gland secretes a substance? Which gland secretes a substance for carbohydrate digestion? That you are going to write. You are going to write bile secreted by liver helps in what? What process? How is the small intestine designed to increase the surface area of the absorption? What does it contain? What are the end products of the carbohydrates? What are the end products of the proteins? And what are the end products of the fat? Next question, how does teeth, tongue and liver help in digestion? Next question, you are going to write down what is the role of small intestine and large intestine in human digestive system. And next, you are going to write mouth secretes which digestive juice. It helps in the breakdown of the carbohydrates. Bile juice is secreted by which organ? And what is its activity? How is it useful? Pancreatic juice is secreted by which organ? And how is it useful? So write these answers in your book, and let's meet next time with a new topic. And the next topic will be nutrition in the amoeba and also of other cow and other herbivorous animals. So bye for now.